Well, nearly 40 people were killed in a midnight attack at a Catholic church in Congo over the weekend, one of the deadliest attacks in Congo in recent history, but part of a broader pattern of attacks on Christians across Africa and the Middle East. The images are horrifying. The Islamic State-affiliated militants from the Allied Democratic Forces, the ADF, claimed responsibility for this town. It's a horrifying story. Gunmen stormed the church during a worship service, opened fire, and attacked with machetes. Survivors say the attackers also burned homes, looted property, and abducted villagers as they fled. So children are still missing because of this. AJ Hurley is a national speaker, activist, and leader in the pro-life movement. He joins us to discuss this today. Maybe we'll start broad with this broader rise in violence on Christians in the Middle East and Africa. So what's your take on that to begin with?
Well, thanks, guys, so much for having me. Those that know me, I am a national pro-life activist. I work for the White Rose Resistance. You know, we're talking about a contentious issue today, which shouldn't really be, but I just wanted to say that, you know, most of these views are my own and not necessarily reflective of my organization. However, I think it's safe to say that Christians everywhere, any threat to children, innocent children everywhere, should concern Christians everywhere. And so, you know, the fact that children are dying in Congo, the fact that Christians are dying in Congo, in places like Syria, places like Gaza in the Middle East, you know, we should be willing to put all of our partisan politics aside and just be members of humanity for a second and decry violence against innocent human beings, especially defenseless children. And so I can't call myself to be pro-life and not valiantly, I guess, speak out against the type of violence maybe connected to our foreign policy. Is it even worth suggesting or even questioning, is our foreign policy connected to this at all? And should we think about those things?
So when you see the media response, it seems like it's overwhelming. I'm just stunned. I turn on CNN, Fox News, all of the different media outlets. They're just covering this wall to wall. The outrage is palpable from our national media. Of course, I'm joking. There's no outrage. There's almost no discussion whatsoever about it. I mean, why do you think that is?
Well, obviously, we have been very much. I mean, it's not a surprise. It's not even debatable that we're connected to this by proxy. You know, a lot of this has to do with ripple effects from our foreign policy in the Middle East, in Iran, and right after, I'm a Eastern Christian, and one of our side of our churches is connected to this church in Damascus. St. Elias in Damascus is a sister church of ours. And 22 people killed on just in the weeks after our intervention in Iran. And so I think it's worth considering, is this connected? And we have a long history that's replete in the last, 25 years since 2001 of the official narrative on all of these, you know, being, we need to protect us and we need to protect our allies. But what's ended up happening is greater amounts of instability and greater amounts of violence. And we should just step back. And I think we're seeing this actually with Gen Z. Gen Z now is overwhelmingly questioning these narratives and coming out to a different conclusion. And I think it's good. We should be asking ourselves, is the foreign policy efforts that we are supporting with our tax dollars, are they actually leading to more violence or not?
Well, yes, the United States does support ISIS. We have for a very long time when we needed them in Syria, since at least the Obama administration, if not before. So that's a yes. We do support ISIS. So I guess it would be hypocritical for us to circle back. But let's talk about the Pope's response about this, because what's interesting is that, and this is valid, Israeli supporters say, hey, everyone's disproportionately worried about Gaza. You should be worried about other violence too in the world. Why do you only care when Jews do the violence? Okay, fair enough, because this is horrible. And it's not getting the attention that it needs. Hillsdale offers so many free online courses to allow you to be a lifelong learner, which is something we all value together. You wouldn't be here on Redacted if you weren't, right? And so when you use phrases like, oh, that's unconstitutional, well, what does that mean? You can take a free online course called The Federalist. The Federalist Papers, primarily written by two of America's most important founding fathers, Alexander Hamilton and James Madison. Well, together they can explain how the U.S. Constitution established a government strong enough to secure the rights of citizens and safe enough to wield that power. Well, as we see these rights eroded, we need to understand the foundation on which they are built. So it's a great way to boost your education about this kind of thing. Now, there are many such courses on Hillsdale. And again, they are self-paced. You can take them whenever you want at whatever pace. And so many of them are free. So right now, head on over to hillsdale.edu/redacted to enroll. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. One more time, that's hillsdale.edu/redacted to enroll for free and check out not just the Federalist course, but their buffet of courses as well. That's hillsdale.edu/redacted. The Pope tweets plenty about Gaza, but on this matter, he only issued a message of deep sorrow through the Vatican and not even personally. So I guess I'm asking, how do we shift our focus? Because this is equally awful. And do you think that it is because we are here in the West? There's a famous Morrissey quote that like the rest of the world could fall off the cliff and America wouldn't know. That doesn't seem the case because we are focused on Gaza. So why do you think we have this disproportionate, outrage right now? It should be fairly equal, or do we just not even have it as humans? What do you think?
Well, I actually think it's a little bit more simple. I want to avoid the tribalism between sides because, frankly, I think most people and most Americans, especially young people nowadays, they're questioning everything. every narrative from Epstein to weapons of mass destruction, they've been raised in this milieu where they've seen through it all, and they're all the hypotheses that we just accepted at face value. We are rightfully second guessing and going back to the drawing board. So I think it's much simpler. I think it's actually what unites us should just be this question is instead of is this moral or is this immoral, is does this benefit us? And should we do it? I mean, so okay. Let me give you a perfect example. My dad used to say when I was a kid, he would say, "If you're young and you're not liberal, you have no heart, and if you're old and you're not conservative, you have no brain." Right? So what I'm witnessing is young Gen Z, overwhelmingly conservative among young men. What it takes to be a young male conservative now is to overcome that natural impulse to be all about caring for the weak and disenfranchised, is seeing through that propaganda and saying, okay, just because I have people at the southern border that need my help does not necessarily mean it's my moral responsibility to help them. And so I think what's happening is we should just say, look, rather than deciding this question, because frankly, I think so many people, you need a PhD level education to decipher whether or not Dave Smith or Dennis Prager is right on this issue. Many people are just like, let's solve a more practical question of when is this my moral responsibility? And two, is it actually doing more good than we say it is? Look, I'm not going to blow smoke and say that Islam is our friend either, right? Like Islam is not Christian and neither is Judaism, right? And so I think we should get back to our order of loves. J.D. Vance got in trouble, a year ago, when he said, I should love my neighbor more than my foreigner at the southern border. And so I think it's a very practical question we should get back to. And I find it's very interesting that the conservatives who are against the, the government's handouts and, interventionist policies of the military state, or excuse me, the state here with welfare are the ones that are behind very big government abroad. And so I just think that we should get back to funding, taking care of our interests at home, protecting babies, and maybe we shouldn't stop killing a million babies here in the womb before we start caring about foreign babies abroad.
AJ Hurley, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it begs the question, are Christians in these regions sort of being left to fend for themselves? You brought up, Judaism, you brought up Islam. We fund Al-Qaeda, for crying out loud, that are killing Christians. So we're sending billions of dollars to these regions, and there doesn't seem to be defending or helping Christians in any way. It seems to be doing the opposite, which is slaughtering them. But that's a deeper.
You can't ask these questions and have these perspectives anymore, because you get caught in a very tribalistic war of people trying to cancel you. And I just think that at the end of the day, we should be all about humanity and loving our neighbor rather than partisan politics.
Yeah. AJ, great to see you. Thank you so much for this perspective.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate you.
You bet.